Do not mention any details here. Why is that important? Because after I state the two solutions, I must say what I would do if I were the student, right? If I were her or him, I would. Now you have to support your answer. How are you going to support your answer? With the details. The more details you get, the more support you have, right? Now what happens if I don't get many details? What should I do? Give advice like you would give to a friend, right? Give advice like you give to a friend. Because they give you 2 points for the student's problem and the 2 solutions. And 2 points for what you would do. Okay, so you want to make sure you provide at least 3 pieces of support. Now remember, if you're weak in support, you can always say, this is by far the most mature and responsible option because. And if it's about education, I could say because education, should be, her priority. What's a priority? Number 1 on your list, right? Number 1 on your list of things to do, ranked first. Okay, so let's take effective notes. After you hear the question, how much time do you have to prepare?
20.
You have 20 seconds. You need to use every second to your advantage, right? And then you're going to speak for 1 minute. Here we go.
Listen to a conversation between 2 students.
So, Mike, you said you wanted to move off campus. Did you ever find an apartment?
Yeah, I did.
So how is it?
Oh, it's great. Except that it's pretty far from campus. It's on the other side of town.
Oh, so you have a pretty long commute to campus then?
Yeah, and now, can you believe it? My car broke down.
Oh, wow. That's too bad.
Well, the car's pretty old, so I'm not surprised it broke down. But it's going to cost a lot of money to get it fixed. A lot more than I can afford right now.
So, what are you going to do? You need a car to get to campus, right?
Yeah. One option would be to borrow the money to fix the car. I talked to my brother. He's out of school and working now, and he said he'd loan me the money to get it fixed.
That's really nice of him.
Definitely. But if I borrow the money from him, I still have to pay it back pretty soon. That'll be tough since I only have a part-time job.
Yeah, that could take a while. Do you have any other options?
Well, I'm also thinking about not fixing the car right now. Maybe try to save the money and just take the bus or something.
So you can get the bus near your house?
Yeah, there's a bus stop a couple of blocks from my apartment. Trouble is, I have to change buses a couple of times, so it takes a really long time to get to campus, and a long time to get back home. I'd really have to adjust my schedule.
I see. That doesn't sound very convenient.
The speakers discussed 2 possible solutions to the man's problem. State the problem and which of the 2 solutions you prefer and why. You have 20 seconds to prepare your response. Okay, decide who's going to go first. All right, here we go. Ready? And begin. because he has to, or he has to pay the money back too, right? Overall, you did fantastic, though.
That was great.
You got the problem really well.
Yeah.
Your only issues were a couple prepositions, but I feel like the problem and the two solutions were perfect. If you can give me a little more support, it'd be helpful. And you just have to watch some of the prepositions, right? It's far from campus, not far to. He could borrow money from his brother, not borrow to his brother, right? So just little prepositions. He needs. Make sure you pronounce the third person as, and to get to campus. You just kind of left out the prepositions there, okay? And he moved off campus into an apartment. But overall, I thought you did really well. You only had -1 on the third person, so I don't think that's a partial. I think that's most. You did a great job pronouncing the plural. Now on the grammar, I'm going to give you a partial just because of the prepositions, to, from. But your pronunciation and delivery were fantastic. You gave me the problem perfectly. The two solutions, wonderful. Just a little more support for your idea. But overall, well done. That's the best one I've heard you do yet.
Yeah, and
Okay?
you did a really good job of using the model from the board.
He
I saw
did.
you look right up, go straight to the model, and you said it super clearly, so I was pretty impressed, and I think the
also,
world is.
one listen. We've been listening twice, and you did that in one listen just like the test.
Nice
All
job.
right, here we go. Switch partners. Ready, and begin.
The students moved off campus and he went in a new apartment and it's pretty far from campus and he needs pretty long commute and his car broke down, he needs a car. There are two possible solutions. He can either borrow money to fix the car or he can take the bus near your house. If I were him, I would definitely borrow money to fix the car. This is by far the most mature and responsible option because education should be his priority. Even though he needs to give the money back soon, he can definitely afford it and to get a new car, and it's time efficient and it's convenient way to go to school. Because if he's taking the bus, he needs to change the bus a couple of times and it's not ideal way to go. It's time consuming.
Jack, that was a great response, man. Great use of the time. You really filled the time well with important information. That was super good, man. All right.
Now, it's far away. The apartment, not how far away, but it is far away. To fix, not fixed here. Instead of take money from his brother, it kind of sounds like he's stealing. So maybe borrow. Borrow would be a better choice. Or he cannot fix the car instead of don't fix the car. But overall, I think you killed it. As well, your third person was fantastic.
Killed it.
You used the
That's
plural.
good.
A couple little grammatical mistakes, but again, you sound very natural. Right? You gave me all of the problem, the two solutions, and just like Noah, just a little more support for your idea. But overall, again, you're really improved. Okay? All right. Are you ready for your sample? Okay.
Are you going to give the
Yes,
sample?
I always give a sample
Ooh,
as
we
well.
get to hear the Soraya version. I like this.
We'll wait for Ryan to finish his assessment. Okay, here is your sample. First of all, is there a right or wrong answer? There is no right or
There's
wrong
video
answer. It's
of
how
Jack
well you can
watching right
support
now.
your answer, okay? So I'll give you one, and then I'll give you the alternative, depending on which one you chose, okay? The student's problem is he moved off campus, however, it's very far, so it's a long commute. And unfortunately, his car broke down, and it costs too much to fix right now, but he really needs it to get to and from university. There are two possible solutions. He can either borrow money to fix his vehicle, or he cannot fix it and take the bus to school. If I were him, I would take the bus. This is by far the most mature and responsible option because he's on a tight budget. In fact, he only has a part-time job, so it's going to be very difficult for him to pay his brother back, even though that was very nice of him to offer to give him a loan. Also, the bus stop is very near his apartment. It's only a couple of blocks away. So even though it's a slightly long commute both ways, perhaps he can do his homework when he's on the bus, and he can really maximize his time, and it won't seem like such a burden. So I think that's the thing, right?
Nice.
Now you can also choose, if I were him, I would borrow money to fix my vehicle. This is by far the most mature and responsible option because he doesn't want to spend a lot of time commuting. In fact, he's going to have to change buses, which would be very time consuming for him. Moreover, his brother was kind enough to offer to lend him the money, so even though he can't pay it back right away, it's family. He could just say, I'll get you next year, and I'm sure his brother would be okay with that. Right? Okay. So again, no right or wrong answer. How many pieces of support do I want? You want to try for 3 pieces of support. You want to try to have an equal allocation of time. No more than 30 seconds for the problem and the 2 solutions. No more than 30. To be honest, it should be like 25. And then about 30 seconds for the second half. Okay? One more? Yep. All right, let me erase my board. Has your note taking
Jack, your timing was perfect too. I noticed right at 30 seconds you were making the switch. That was pretty good.
Speaking question for 2 to 3 weeks so that we can really master that. Because do you feel more confident than you did 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Practice.
Feel more confident?
Right? Ooh, okay. Are you ready for a teacher's problem?
Oh.
All right, now.
Soraya, teachers don't have problems.
You're right. Now remember, am I going to freak out if it's a teacher's problem? No, what do I do? This is the only difference. The teacher's problem. Right? That's all the only difference. And they'll tell you. Listen to the narrator. He's going to say, listen to a conversation between 2 teachers. So that way you're prepared, right? I also want to make sure you're pronouncing the possessive. I need to hear the S. What else do I need to hear? I need to hear solutions, right? Make sure you pronounce the plural and the possessive. All right, here we go.
Listen to a conversation between 2 English professors.
Ooh, English.
Hi, Nancy. Is something the matter?
Oh, I just realized I've got a scheduling conflict tomorrow.
What is it?
Well, the poetry class I'm teaching meets at 4 o'clock. My students have a test next week, so tomorrow's class is the review session. It's important.
Okay.
The other thing is my cousin's retirement party. But I just realized it also starts at 4 o'clock. I hadn't realized it was starting at the exact same time as my class.
Oh, no. Well, I'm free tomorrow at 4. If you want, I could cover your class for you. Lead the review session.
Really? What a generous offer.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, I haven't taught poetry in a few years. I'm a little rusty.
Well, I have some materials prepared, and you could certainly use them. So it might be tough, but you could do it.
I'd try anyway.
Well, my other option is to go to the class, do the review session myself, and arrive late to the retirement party.
So you could prepare your students for the test yourself.
I could, and I know it'd be good for my students. It's just that I'd miss a lot of the party. My cousin and some others are giving speeches, and I think they'll be really interesting. It'd be a shame to miss it.
The speakers discuss 2 possible solutions to the teacher's problem. State the problem and which of the solutions you prefer. You have 20 seconds to prepare.
Take a look at those notes. Super good notes. Makes it easy to speak when time comes to begin. Nice job, Soraya. Time is counting down. Students are preparing.
Okay. Decide who's going to go first. Okay. Coming to you, Rona. All right. Ready. Begin your response after the beep. Beep.
She can't even I can also make it to the party even if it snows,
Yeah, the only issue is the only time you say I is if I were her. Then everything goes back to she. So, okay, so in order for her to fulfill her commitment, fulfill would be the better choice than dedicate her commitment, fulfill her commitment, but you have to go to her instead of me. It was fantastic. Yes, not party retirement, but retirement party. When you say the two solutions, just say she can either do this or do that. You don't need to say the second solution. It sounds more native and natural. So just avoid the me. Try not to leave any time on the clock. So you could always end.
Yeah, she had about 10 seconds left on the clock. So we got to add some more details.
You can say this is by far the most mature and responsible option.
It's a good response, though.
Students' education should be her priority, right? So that would work very well if you put students' education, and then it would be in the perfect time allocation. But overall, you use the third person, the plural, tiny little grammatical issue, but you sound very confident, which is critical. It was very fluid and good support, but I'm going to give you a partial because don't leave time on the clock. Don't leave any time. Because if you can't speak for 1 minute, they might view that negatively. Okay? Wonderful job. You good, Ryan? Okay, let's switch partners. Ready, and begin.
She's got like schedule template tomorrow. She has to attend the class which she's presented, or at the same time she has that present government part. There's like two possible solutions. First, she can rely on another colleague to present on her behalf. The other solution, she can go to the class and do the presentation, and she can
30-second mark. Time to switch to opinions.
While we're there, I can rely on
Perfect timing.
another mate because even he doesn't like in the teaching field for like 30 years, but she has already ready for her material. He can rely on it better than going late to the party. So I think this is by far the most mature and valuable option so far.
Look at that timing. That was great, man. Your timing was perfect. Good job. That was great.
She had prepare first.
Look at how well these students are following the format. Soraya gives them the format, gives them the example, gets them really comfortable with how to use it. And then, of course, when the students put it to the test, when students start speaking, they can follow this very carefully. The timing of that last response from that student was super good. If you noticed, he switched over at the 30-second mark at exactly the right time to start talking about what he would do. If I were her, if I were him, I would. He started that at the 30-second mark, which gave him just enough time to talk about why his choice or why the best option is the best. So that was a really good response. And the, of course, the format, the example helps so much.
That takes.
All right, here is your sample.
Here we go, from the teacher. Going to use her own notes.
The teacher's problem is she has a scheduling conflict tomorrow. Her poetry class coincides with a retirement party for her cousin, so she's not sure what to do about this dilemma because it's a really important review session for an exam. There are two possible solutions. Her colleague can cover her class, or she could do the review session herself and be late to the party. If I were her, I would definitely do the review session and be late. This is by far the most mature and responsible option because her students' education should be her priority. And she mentioned that this review session would be very beneficial if she taught it, right? So even though she's going to miss a lot of the party and some speeches, her coworker is a little rusty. In fact, he's out of practice because he hasn't taught poetry in a few years. So even though she has the material, her students might be confused.
All right.
Again, if you choose, he can cover the class, right? Again, I used the word, first of all, when two events happen at the same time. What word did I use?
Coincide.
Coincide.
There we go.
Coincide, right? I said that the review session coincides with her cousin's retirement party, right? This is a fantastic way to be concise, right? And also academic, right? Coincides with matches, meets at the same time, right? So that there oftentimes the problem is a scheduling conflict. So that would be a very academic way to state that issue, right? All right, so the alternative. If I were her, I would have my colleague cover my class. This is by far the most mature and responsible option because her family should be her priority. And her cousin's retiring, so it's a very, festive event. And there's going to be many speeches that she doesn't want to miss out on. I personally feel that if she has the material to help him conduct the class, if he's a competent teacher, it shouldn't be a problem that he's a little rusty. He can prepare them for their exam. Right? All right, I personally would do the review session.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed watching some practice for TOEFL speaking question number 5.
Overall today, do you feel like you
It's one of the many difficult integrated speaking questions on the TOEFL. And TOEFL is one of the things that Connect English specializes in. We want to help students pass the TOEFL and go to university in the USA. So if you'd like information about coming to pass the TOEFL, study for the TOEFL, get into university in the USA, Connect English is one of the best ways to do it. Go to our website, connectenglish.edu. Thanks.